Hi, I'm here at Shannon Airport and we're assisting in commissioning an upgrade to the VTS BIWIS system and we're upgrading to VTScada. I am here with Mark Duffy, who is the Senior IT Consultant and Analyst here at Shannon Airport, and Mark is going to show us around the BIWIS system. Thanks for having us here, Mark. And can you tell us what does BIWIS stand for?
Now, BIWIS is Baggage Image Weight Information System.
And so what does that mean?
So the baggage imaging system allows the US Customs and Pre-Clearance here at Shannon Airport to interrogate bags before passengers enter US airspace.
So essentially, passengers who are flying to the US are then clearing customs and immigration here in Shannon Airport.
Exactly. The whole premise of this was to allow transatlantic aircraft to arrive in US airports, and so that the inbound flight will be considered as a domestic flight and people wouldn't have to queue for the couple of hours that traditionally happens in the big airports, and they can quickly go through customs and board.
So Mark, can you walk us through the process that a passenger would go through when they're flying to the US, having checking in here at Shannon Airport?
Okay, so the premise behind it is passenger gets to the check-in desk, their boarding card is scanned, followed shortly then by the baggage label. Baggage label is attached to the bag and dispatched. Now, in that scanning process, a picture of the bag is captured. It's associated to both the bag label and the boarding card, so that the passenger is able to be identified with the bag in US customs, and should there be questions later, the information can be interrogated by the US Customs Border Police. So
Mark, can you take us down and talk us through the process? Hey Mark, so this is where I'd be checking in for my flight to the US. So I take it I just put my bag on the belt here. There we go. Okay Mark, so could you just walk through the process of inducting a bag into the BIWIS system, please?
Sure. So we see here there's a traffic light system. At the moment it's waiting for a boarding card. So once we scan the passenger's boarding card, we get another indicator to tell us to scan the bag label. Scan the bag label. Again, we get an indicator to say that it's ready to dispatch. So when we dispatch the bag will go to the end of the belt and will be captured by the CPP cameras. So now that we're ready to dispatch, we hit the dispatch button. The bag contains that weight.
That's great. So is it the BIWIS, the VTScada BIWIS system that's controlling all these buttons and lights?
No, it's the baggage handling system and the PLCs that do all the magic. The BIWIS just interfaces with that system in order to inject each bag.
We've just passed through passenger screening, and Shannon Airport has just gone through a massive upgrade of their passenger screening system. It means that you no longer have to take the electronic components out of your bag. Fluids can pass through and it speeds up the whole process. They've got 4 lines running, and the X-ray system is a 3D tomography system, so that the agents are able to see the bags in full 3 dimensions and see right through everything that's contained within. It's a really terrific system, and one of the first in Europe to have this system fully installed. So Mark, we've passed through passenger screening, we've been into duty free and bought all our duty free, we've been to the restaurant and had a nice pint of Guinness, and now we're ready to enter the US border protection pre-clearance. So now obviously we're not allowed to film inside there, it's a restricted area, but can you tell us a little bit about what happens with the BIWIS system and the passengers?
Sure. Behind me is the US Customs Pre-Clearance facility in Shannon. When passengers enter this area, they're essentially entering US soil. So a passenger, when they get to the the primary inspection station, they present a boarding card. The boarding card is scanned by the agent. He or she is able to have a look at all the bags that have been inducted by that passenger. If the customs agent is happy with all the information that he's been presented, they're allowed to proceed into the US clearance area. If there's any questions to be had, that information is carried out in a different station, and depending on the outcome of that, the bag is allowed through and loaded on the aircraft, or it's pulled from the aircraft and further inspections takes place.
And so this is the VTS or the VTScada system that the agents are using to pull up this information?
Exactly. So the VTScada allows them to have a look at and interrogate each bag before the passenger proceeds, and they can do that without having to pull the bags and do an initial inspection. And should the information that they're presented with not add up, then at that stage they can instruct through the VTScada system for the baggage system or the baggage handlers to send the bags of that passenger back up for further inspection.
Excellent. So the images and the weights that were recorded down at the check-in are displayed on screen for the operators?
Exactly. So each agent is presented with the full list of the bags for that passenger, associated tags, and the weights and images for that passenger.
So that's how the passengers are handled, but what about the bags themselves? So we've gone through security, we're now down here in the baggage basement next to the baggage handling system, and this I guess is where the bags come from check-in. So Mark, can you just talk us through what's happening with the bags?
So behind us is the baggage system. After the bags are injected at check-in, they make their way through this warren of electromechanical hardware. The bags are X-rayed. They pass through what we call radiation portals to detect if there's any radiation material or radioactive material within the bags. And should they pass through and pass, then they make their way down to the baggage basement, where they're collected and poured onto either dollies or direct onto the plane.
So here we are in front of one of the VTScada BIWIS stations. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about what happens here?
So when the bags arrive into the baggage basement on the carousel, the sortation process begins. The baggage handlers scan each bag through the station here, and should the CBP clear the bags, the bags are then loaded onto the dolly and then onto the plane. However, if there's questions about the bags, they can be instructed through the station whether to hold onto the bag or not, and instruction is done through the screens.
Excellent. And so there's a bit of a two-way communication between the baggage basement and the US pre-clearance about whether a bag needs to be sent up for secondary inspection or whether the bag needs to be offloaded from the aircraft altogether.
Exactly. So the feedback between the CP screening people and the baggage handlers is immediate. There's no ambiguity if a bag has been flagged as questionable or there's some further investigation needed. The observation is immediate to the baggage handler.
So I've heard the term bingo card. Can you tell me what does that mean?
So a bingo card is essentially a document that the baggage labels are placed onto. So if you look at a standard baggage label, there's what they call a tear off, and that is placed onto the bingo card. And as that fills up, bags are loaded onto the dolly. And once the bingo card is full, that means that dolly is cleared and that can proceed out of the aircraft.
Excellent. And so the VTScada system has a visual representation of that bingo card on the screen.
That's correct. So while there's a physical bingo card, there is a virtual representation of those tear-offs, and they show up in the form of barcodes, and the baggage agent, if required, can interrogate those images.
So that's great for passengers who are starting their journey here at Shannon Airport, but what about passengers who are flying in from another airport, transiting or transferring from one plane to another?
Okay, in that case, it's very unlikely that the passenger will be going to the front house, so there's what we call a transfer station here, airside, where the bags are inducted. So here we are at the transit transfer station. This is the station that is used to induct bags that are from aircraft that are not originating in Shannon, so passengers that are transiting through Shannon. So the bags will be brought here on dollies, will be offloaded, and the handling agent will induct bags here. We do that by select the flight. That puts us into the flight, so we enable our CDP mode and we just get the bag. Without fail.
So here we are back in the check-in departures area. Mark, thank you so much for showing us around the Shannon Airport BIWIS system. It's fascinating, and thanks for joining us on the Automation Village.
You're very welcome. We love having you here, and it's a pleasure working with VTScada.